It's been another busy day of NHL trades, and we have all the latest rumors leading into the final 24 hours ahead of the NHL trade deadline. Tonight, we're looking at the latest on Jake Guentzel. Sounds like he's probably heading to Carolina as later tonight, as after the games, is when we're expected to see a trade go down. The latest on Tyler Toffoli out of New Jersey. Where could he be heading? We also have news that the Flyers are potentially looking to move Ryan Johansson. San Jose Sharks, Anthony Duclair, very much in play. The Sens are still on the phones making lots of conversation as well. We have another contract signing in Calgary and another fine from NHL player safety regarding Nick Cousins and the Panthers. All that and more coming up next. So welcome back to another video here at Top Shelf Hockey. As I mentioned, we have a lot to cover here. This is kind of like, so to speak, your last batch of rumors, the latest on all the intel around the trade market before we get into the final stretch here leading to the deadline. We've already seen a lot of the bigger names moved. By the end of tonight, we could see a few more. So hard to say how eventful tomorrow will be. I think there'll still be lots of deals. It just may not be anything as significant, but you never know. There could be some things that surprise us. For example, as I mentioned before we get into the trade talk, a couple of the quick notes here. The Calgary Flames today extended a young defenseman, Muriel, who they picked up in the trade for Noah Hanifin. He's not super young. He's actually not that much younger than Hanifin, a bit of an older prospect, but he's had a couple of really good years in the American Hockey League, and the Flames seem fairly confident that he can get more NHL reps and be able to succeed. Obviously, the Golden Knights blue line's been pretty deep and hasn't really allowed him much of an opportunity there, but he gets a 2-year extension, $1.25 million per year. So hopefully he can catch on in Calgary and get a bigger role. And Panthers forward Nick Cousins has been fined. This is his second warning of the season for embellishment, and really this guy's getting quite a reputation around the league. We saw Anthony Mantha kind of go ahead and so to speak, kind of smack him around a little bit the other night when they were playing the Capitals before he was traded to Vegas. Cousins has been kind of, pushing his luck in my opinion. Had a couple of situations this year where he's really been caught kind of faking it. So he gets fined. It's a $2,000 fine for right now. It goes up to $5,000 on the next one. It's certainly going to impact his reputation around the league when you start getting warned and fined multiple times for embellishment in a year. That's the second time on his record for this season. There's twice in the last couple of months here. Now, on the latest rumors, let's start with Jake Guentzel in Pittsburgh. Pretty evident that Guentzel's played his last game, obviously been out injured for some time. Pittsburgh's obviously not really where they want to be, and there's lots of teams in the mix for Guentzel, but it's believed later tonight, after the games are completed, that we're going to see a Jake Guentzel trade likely get consummated to send him to the Carolina Hurricanes. At least that's the belief right now. Right now, there was belief throughout the last 3 or 4 hours that the Canucks, Rangers, Golden Knights were all very much in the mix. I think to some degree Edmonton, but I don't think they were willing to pay the hefty prices that Dubas and the Penguins are looking for here. So we'll see. I know Vancouver was really, really high on him as well, obviously having a strong connection to the all the Penguins' former brass, in the Canucks organization between Tocchet and Rutherford, Alvin, etc. There, they were really hoping to get him over. But sounds like the Hurricanes are winning that battle. We don't know any details on the trade, and it's not official yet, so that's why it's still right now. It's still a rumor. But it is believed that former Toronto Maple Leaf Michael Bunting will be part of that deal going to the Penguins. Obviously, the Hurricanes need to ideally prefer to move some money out as part of this contract acquisition here to bring Guentzel in. It's believed as well that Guentzel is very open to signing a contract extension with the Hurricanes, so he may or may not make it to free agency this summer. NHL insiders believe that he would be interested in staying there on a longer-term basis. We know the Hurricanes have been quiet so far, and the last number of years in the playoffs, I don't know how many times they've been one goal short of winning a round or taking the next big step to go to like the final or the conference final or whatnot. And they need a game breaker. They need a proven goal scorer on that roster that can come up big when it matters most. And Guentzel has that experience. I mean, he's not super old by any means, but he's got lots of experience. He played a lot of big games riding shotgun with Sidney Crosby. Got some Stanley Cups under his belt, lots of playoff action. The Canes obviously know him very well from competing against them. I think he would be a terrific fit there. What that package is going to include besides Bunting is unclear. Obviously, Dubas quite familiar with Bunting from their time in Toronto. what else are they going to be looking for? I don't know. I mean, there's some belief that they're going to be looking for their top prospect, Nikishin. Whether or not they're willing to include that, we'll see. What else is there anything off the roster? I don't know. But later on tonight, probably in the next 3 or 4 hours, we should have some more clarity in this. We'll go from being a rumor to being hopefully a done deal. If not, it could finish tomorrow, but it sounds like it's expected to have a trade call later tonight once both teams' games are done playing. So we'll see. Guentzel looks like he's heading to the Hurricanes. Tyler Toffoli, New Jersey, getting tons of interest out there. And I know Emily Kaplan of ESPN believes that the most likely landing spot right now is a reunion with the LA Kings. Now, doesn't mean that's 100% going to happen. There are other teams in the mix. Like I know Vancouver also, not only in the Guentzel conversations, but in the Toffoli conversations as well. Another player Vancouver also very familiar with. Vegas also believed to be in there as well. But it sounds like LA is likely going to win that one, but we don't know how that's going to go down or what the package is going to be. We know the Devils and Tom Fitzgerald were looking for a pretty big price tag. Now, the Kings do have a lot of interesting young prospects they could offer. I'm not sure what's going to be in the package. But again, some of these teams are going to end up with a bit of a bidding war because they're all kind of going for the same handful of players. So Toffoli and Guentzel were getting a lot of attention from the same guys in the same teams. So, I mean, the Rangers right now, we're very much in the mix as well with the Ducks when they were trying to get a combo of Frankie Vetrano and Adam Henrique before Henrique was ultimately traded to the Oilers. There was believed that there was an offer and that there were talks that intensified. They were serious. Obviously, Drury got cold feet and didn't pull the trigger, but it's believed that the Ducks were willing to move Vetrano and Henrique to the Rangers. Going back the other way was going to be Capo Caco and a first-round pick. Now, obviously, Chris Drury ultimately decided at the last minute not to do that, but it's believed those talks were pretty serious and pretty close, but no cigar. So the Rangers looking for that goal-scoring winger, almost had it in Vetrano. At this point, I think there's a pretty good chance Vetrano likely stays put with the Ducks. But we'll see. The Rangers are out there trying to continue to make more moves, and it's heavy price tag, so it's costing for sure. In Philadelphia, we know they picked up Ryan Johansson, of course, from the Avalanche, put him through waivers. He's been assigned to the minors, but there was talk from their management team today, Danny Briere, that they are looking to flip him. They don't really feel like there's a long-term fit with him and with the Flyers organization, and they're trying to see if they can retain salary and move him. He has already had salary retained once, knocked his salary down from 8 to 4, and then they're looking to do another retention and knock it down to 2. So they're hoping with a team out there that might want center depth that a $2 million Ryan Johansson for this year, next year might be, something that they're interested in. Now, it's believed as well, there are reports from reputable sources indicating that Johansson's near the end of his tenure with the Avalanche. It's not only a case of the team not being thrilled or happy enough with his on-ice play, but it's believed that there was some issues in the room and the things were his teammates weren't. I'm not sure if it was I don't think it was anything personal. It sounded like it was more of a professional issue, but that there was some tension, between himself and his Avalanche teammates. So not only did they want to upgrade the position, but it's believed they were also making a move just to make sure that everything stayed good in the room, team culture was good, and that there wasn't anything kind of negatively impacting the players off the ice too, which is not something we really ever heard of before regarding Johansson. He's always been regarded, for the most part, from what I've heard, as a pretty good teammate and good guy off the ice. So it's a little surprising, but I think more than anything, those guys are just so hyper competitive that maybe there's more than just frustration that he's not getting the job done, and maybe it's more something along those lines, which is what it sounds like. So we'll see. San Jose Sharks forward Anthony Duclair certainly drawing some interest. He's played pretty well as of late. Got a decent amount of goals. The guy's a terrific skater. Got himself a new agent recently. He's represented himself in his last, at least one, if not 2 contracts. And it sounds like he's trying to hopefully play himself onto a contending team. There was, at one point, it was believed that he may be maybe heading back to the Panthers where he played before, but after the other moves they've made and getting Tarasenko, I'm not really sure that's going to pan out, but I guess it's not I wouldn't rule it out either. But there are some teams that are circling around Duclair. I think he'll probably be one of the guys that's kind of like looked upon as being like a tier 2 kind of scoring winger. Like they got the teams that are going for Guentzel and Toffoli and don't get them are going to be circling back trying to get a guy like Duclair, thankfully, which will come a little bit cheaper. But he is available. He's out there and hoping to get moved, and I think the Sharks won't have any issues doing that. In Ottawa, a couple of updates. One on the Tarasenko trade. I know I've seen a lot of negativity from fans online, and I addressed that in the trade video, saying that I really don't think the GM did that poor of a job. Like, in all honesty, if you think about it, it's more the signing in the first place. As much as I know I enjoyed watching Tarasenko play with the Sens, I thought he was a good fit. He worked hard. He did well, but really should he have ever even been there? If Shane Pinto wouldn't have been suspended, that probably wasn't happening. Like, when they signed Tarasenko, like, okay, well, you left no room to sign Pinto now. And they didn't even 100% know yet that Pinto was getting suspended. So, like, they put themselves in a really bad spot. So, realistically, they shouldn't have done it in the first place, as much as he did fit well and, worked out good for his short tenure there. And then on top of that, I said in the video that Tarasenko was given a full no trade by the team on a 1-year deal. They knew the odds of him staying long-term probably weren't great. And they put themselves basically over a barrel with no leverage to the point that he was going to call his shot, and the team going that it was going to take him was going to know this and not going to give a great return. So I guess the way to look at it is this was an asset that at least it wasn't drafted, developed, and you gave out or you traded for. This was a case of you got him for nothing as a free agent. Your former GM and Pierre Dorian gave him all the control and all the say, which was always going to limit the return. Steve Staios had no options here, and Tarasenko himself, in his introductory press conference with the Panthers today, confirmed that they were the only team that he was willing to waive his no-trade clause for. Now, I caution everybody. I always say, sometimes GMs and players, what they say publicly, you got to always kind of take it with a grain of salt. True to some extent, but at the same time, I believe that that's the case. It was known all along he wanted to go to Florida. He already has a property there. His family was living there. This was the easiest transition for him from a family perspective, and of course they're a really good team, having a good chance at the Cup. It just made total sense. So there's no way that they were going to win that deal. So stop giving your GM a hard time, because I think he did the best he could under the circumstances. And the next player that's most likely to go, according to sources, could be defenseman Erik Brannstrom. Good player. I can definitely play in the league. I think they've held on to him as long as they have because of the fact that he was a cornerstone piece in the Mark Stone trade, which otherwise the rest of that has not gone well. That's a trade gone horribly wrong. They did really well in the Erik Karlsson trade, the Stone trade. They did not. But playing behind Sanderson and Shabbat, and then you get Chychrun, who's playing a lot on the right. We don't know the future of him, but at least he's there for at least now. Brannstrom does not have no way to ever have a bigger role than third pair. They ideally would like to have a more beefier, bigger, shutdown type defenseman, but he's learned to defend at this level, and considering he's not overly big and he's a good skater, good puck mover, he's done well. He's even done well in the penalty kill, accepted his role, and honestly, I think he's done fine, and I think he can play, and there's other teams that I think could give him a better chance to excel at what he's good at. So I hope if they get the right return, that they could maybe get something else that's going to help them as well. Maybe they either get a right shot defenseman, or they get maybe another goaltender. I don't know what they get in return, but either way, I know on the Coming in Hot Sens podcast with Bobby Ryan and Brent Wallace and Jason York today, Bobby Ryan, even who was well connected, obviously former Senator player, made comments that he got a text, somebody, he didn't say who it was from, but somebody connected to the team that he still talks to, saying that they believe Brannstrom was getting dealt, and it could even happen as soon as today. So we'll see. I'm not sure where he would head to. No link to a specific team, but it is expected right now, based on that intel, that a good chance he gets moved. But we'll see. Like I said, a good player. I just think he needs a change of scenery to kind of better serve his skill set. So we'll see where things go on that front. So that's all the latest for right now. Like I said, there's bound to be some more activity tonight, and obviously more trades tomorrow before the deadline hits. So let me know your thoughts on everything discussed here today down in the comments. We'll discuss further. If you're new to the channel, of course, make sure you subscribe, stick around so you don't miss anything. We'll keep you up to date through the rest of the trade deadline, of course, and beyond. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you next time.